the All Children's Hospital in downtown St. Pete.
That's right. We are back live once again. 1-800-270-8642. 1-800-270-8642. Monthly Miracle Makers. You call up that phone number and become one of our angels, if you will, and donate. It's very simple. $15 a month, which rounds out to about 50 cents a day. It's cheaper than buying a Coke at work every day for lunch. So, and then you can become a part of our All Children's US 1035 family for sure. Joining me now is a young man named Tony Colton, and Tony, you have had quite a run, and it's. I'm reading the notes here. It says that you have a rare clear cell sarcoma, which is cancer of the kidney. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
And you're 14 now, and you were diagnosed when you were 11 years old.
Actually, I'm 15 now, and I was diagnosed at 11 years old. Yeah. So I was diagnosed in 2011 at the age of 11, and went through extensive chemotherapy treatment for this type of cancer that I have now. So
you and I don't want to be a bummer or anything, but you were doing really well, and there seems to be you had to have a surgery here recently, and there's been a relapse.
Yep. So I was actually, when I was diagnosed in 2011, I went through chemotherapy for about 6 months, and then after that I went into remission for the first time. That was in 2012. I went into remission, February 2012. And then I was in remission for about a year, and in February 2013, I was diagnosed the second time with the same exact cancer, although it was in the place where my kidney used to be, because my first time around, they took the kidney out. And so after I was diagnosed the second time, I went through even more chemo and even more radiation, and then I went back into remission in October 6th, 2013. And I was in remission for another year. In this past, I don't even know when it was. It was November 13th is when I had my next surgery. They found that I had 3 more tumors in my body. Had 2 more where the kidney kind of was, and then 1 was in the back area behind the colon. And I had those taken out, and I am now looking at another treatment plan of what we're going to be thinking about doing, although we're on our last option, so we don't really know what we're going to be doing for this time.
So you have to do a third round of chemo? Is it a second round of chemo? For this treatment, that's what I'm talking about.
For this treatment, I've already done 2 rounds of it. I've already done it the first time, went into remission, done it the second time. This will be the third time. But this third time, they don't want to do chemo this time, because chemo's shown that it's going to come back no matter what.
Right.
And so we're thinking about just waiting it out this time, and we're not sure if I'm going to have another surgery. That's definite. Probably in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to have another surgery, and that'll take out the omentum, which is where some of my tumors have been growing. And then I'll go on maybe just waiting it out until I have more tumors, or look and see if I can go on a trial or something like that.
So maybe an experimental sort of...
Right, and I was on that the second time around as well. I went on a experimental trial in Washington, D.C. I was flown up there, and...
Actually, before you go into tell me, and I want to hear all about that, but yeah. I have to get to this. You have gone to D.C., and you're a big advocate and a big supporter of All Children's Hospital. Tell me what you did in Washington, D.C.
So I went to Washington, D.C. after my second time around. I went this past summer, actually. I went as a spokesperson for the hospital, for All Children's Hospital.
Wow.
And I had 2 representatives from the hospital go with my family and I. And we went to Washington, D.C., and we spoke actually on Capitol Hill with congressmen, senators, and we had lots of meetings and things like that with kids from all over the United States sharing their hospital and trying to raise awareness for their hospital. And I was actually up there for All Children's. So while I was there, we spoke to the senators, and we just kind of were telling them about my story, and then we would have my representative that was with me from the hospital would lay the good stuff on them, and would lay like the hard bills and stuff that they were bringing to Congress.
So you're like the man around here.
It was a lot of fun, and I'll definitely continue to be doing it, and because that's what the kids here need. And
Tony, that is so cool. I mean, we come out here and do this, once a year for 2 days, but you do this 365, don't you?
That's right. Yeah, I never stop.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So that is so cool. Now, I was reading here also. You're actually adopted, and you have from your mom, Connie. You can say hi, Connie.
Hi.
She said that he's going to be doing 99% of the talking. So there's your
there's your 0.1. Yeah, 0.01.
Now, how is this? How has this been with? How are your siblings? How do they handle all the things that you have to do? And we were talking about this earlier about it's yes, this is the thing that you're going through is one thing, and the thing that the moms and the dads go through is something else. But people tend to forget about their brothers and sisters too. So tell me a little bit about your brothers and sisters and how they're handling the whole thing.
It's definitely a hardship for my brothers and sisters, especially being adopted and being a single parent like my mom is. We don't have a father at the house, and although some of some of my mom's children. Some of my sisters are gone out of the house.
So they're older. Where are
Right.
you? Where are you at?
So I'm actually the youngest child.
Oh, okay.
And so they're all older. I have a 16-year-old brother, a 18 or 19-year-old sister, a 21 or 22-year-old sister, 27 and 27. So I got 4 sisters and 1 brother, and I'm the youngest out of them. And it's definitely a hardship for them as well while they're at the house. My brother's the only one living at the house still, and so he kind of has someone come and stay at the house with them when we're in the hospital, and it's a hardship for them. And even the ones that are not at the house, and they know that I'm in the hospital, and their thoughts and stuff are with me, but it's just them thinking about me constantly and worrying and wondering what's going to be next.
But they're all really supportive and
Definitely, all of them are very supportive, and they all we have little things on Facebook that we always share, and they always share stuff, and like look at what my brother is doing, and look at we need to help him, and things like that, and the wonderful hospital he's at, and because I was in Washington D.C. and I was also treated in Washington D.C. for part-time.
let's go back to that.
Yeah, so I was treated in Washington D.C. my second time around on a trial, a phase 1 trial. So I was the first kid with my type of cancer to ever get this treatment.
Okay.
And I was on this trial, and I went back and forth from Sarasota, Florida, where I live, all the way to Washington D.C. 3 times. I was going every month. I was flying back and forth.
That's not
And
cheap, is it, Mom?
It is not cheap.
No.
And it was definitely an experience for us, but it was not home for us. Home for us is in Sarasota, Florida, and then second home for us is here at All Children's, and it's just a growing part of our family, and we know that this is the only hospital. If I get sick, this is where I'm coming. So we have a 45-minute trek from Sarasota to here, and we know if I get sick or whatever happens, that this is the hospital I'm going to need to be at.
Absolutely.
That we have a 45-minute trek in between us in the hospital, and we don't even bother with that. We just come up here, and like a secondhand nature.
Well,
So
it's like we were talking, like what Ben and I were talking about just a little bit ago. When you walk through the hallways, do the nurses and the doctors see you and they go, "Hey, Tony, what's going on?" I mean, they all know all the kids.
Yeah.
right, and it's kind of weird because where I am with my cancer, normally our normal floor is 7 South.
Yep.
So we're on the 7th floor, and when we go around the hospital, a lot of our us cancer patients, we have stuff going on in radiology. We get scans done very, very often. If we're done with surgery, we're on the surgery floor. We're on the 8th floor for surgery sometimes. So we know all the nurses all over the hospital, and a lot of the kids here do. And I feel like a lot of the kids know, like on a personal basis, some of their nurses and some of the doctors.
Yeah.
Like my doctor and I, we do speeches together, like as a, I don't know, like a pair.
A
So
team.
Yeah, so I start out with my story, and then he finishes it off with new trials that they're opening up. And he's actually the leading doctor on a couple of trials that we have opening up here at All Children's and across Florida.
So is he the one that's going to be spearheading the experimental thing that you're going to be doing next?
Yep, so if I go on a experimental treatment, I'll be on the one that he wrote personally himself. So it'll be kind of
He's the
cool.
man.
Kind of cool. So then we'll both actually be able to talk specifically about this trial that he came out with and I was on. So it'll be kind of fun. And a lot of the kids here, they know all their nurses personally. And I'll be down in radiology and I'll be laughing and talking with nurses that don't even give me treatment. They're just getting me
They just know
prepped
you.
for something I'm going into. So
It's so cool. It's total family
oh yeah,
kind of environment.
yeah, it's kind of like a
because
family reunion when you come back to the hospital.
Yeah,
So
I've heard other patients say the exact same thing. It's like, they don't want to come here, but I'm looking forward to seeing blah 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 blah.
yeah,
blah.
oh yeah, definitely.
That's so cool. Tony, if you could tell the people that are listening right now, which I'm sure you've done on Capitol Hill, why should people call up and donate and make sure that All Children's is always here?
Well, you and I, Norm, we see the people, we see the kids. You've interviewed the kids, and I see the kids in the hospital when I'm there. But for the people who are in their cars driving, or the people who have the radio and they're maybe barbecuing or doing whatever they're doing, and they're hearing us talk about it, they don't really get to see it. But if they have kids, and their kids are living normal lives, playing soccer, football, horseback riding for some of the girls or guys, or doing whatever they're doing, but just take that into perspective. The kids that are in the hospital were those kids at a point. They were those kids that were doing those sports, cheerleading, or whatever they were doing, whatever they were interested in, whatever their hobbies were. But now they're in the hospital, and they're stuck and confined, and they're having to do treatment and different things that they're doing now. Just, if that were your child, how would you be feeling? Like, the kids here are definitely in for a rude awakening for whenever they come in, and it's very eye-opening for some of the parents and for some of the kids who just take for granted some of the things that they can do.
But this place and the people here
Are just phenomenal. This is just a second home for me. I don't mind coming. I was in the car ride here. Actually, I'm admitted in the hospital right now.
Yeah.
I came downstairs from 7 South where I was, and I came when we were here and we were in the car going to the ER the other day. I told my mom, when I was younger, I was scared of going to the hospital, but now that I've been doing it for several years now, it's like a second home for me.
Wow.
And so I just don't mind coming to the hospital anymore.
he said he felt safe. He says, I feel safe and I know it's going to be okay, when we were driving up here on Tuesday.
That's awesome. And I know that you're not feeling well, and I
Right.
appreciate you coming down here and talking to us, Tony. That's huge.
No problem.
Huge. Tony, thank you so much. You are the man.
Thank you.
All right. 1-800-270-8642. Call up right now. Call up and donate in the name of Tony. You can totally do that. Just whenever you get through, at 800-270-8642, say, I'm donating this for Tony. I'm becoming a miracle maker for Tony. And Tony, thank you so much, and good luck. Good luck big time. We'll be right back. US 103.5's All Children's Cares for Kids Radiothon.
I'm driving home tonight, catching all red lights. That's alright, 'cause I don't